Hi you guys, it's Arielle. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today is a little fall vlog in Paris. I have a couple activities that I want to check out, so I thought I'd bring you along. And I thought it could be fun as well to show you what Paris looks like early September when the city is back to life after August summer vacations. Our first stop of the day is the Tootbus, which I've been wanting to try for forever. I just hopped off the Tootbus at the Eiffel Tower stop. I'll show you the beautiful view. It looks gloomy, but it's actually kind of nice with all of the leaves blowing and falling. It's very fall-esque. I've grabbed a Vélib and I'm gonna bike all the way to the Marais. I wanna go for lunch at a little restaurant called La Petite Maison de la Cour for a nice hot French home-cooked meal. It's quite chilly, it's very windy today. And then we'll do some thrifting in the 3rd and the 4th. There's so many shops that I want to check out, and now is the perfect time to find some outerwear. I feel like I'm biking against a wall. There is definitely a storm brewing. Out of 10. Lunch at that restaurant is always so good. It's very well hidden, so it's pretty quiet. And the food is always seasonal. It's very healthy. What's interesting is their meat dishes, like I ordered the chicken, don't come with fries like you normally have at a bistrot. It comes with seasonal vegetables and petite épeautre, which is like a type of grain. So even though I had a 3-course meal, it doesn't feel like it's weighing me down. And I had the fondant au chocolat for dessert, which was so good. On the menu, it was written that the fondant au chocolat was their specialty. And I'm like, your specialty? Like, it's such a basic dessert. It's in all of the French restaurants, but it was incredible. It was like a mix between a butter tart and a French fondant. So make sure you get that if you go to the restaurant. It hasn't started thunderstorming yet, so we're good to do some thrifting. And the reason why I want to go today is because I will always remember last year in September, I went into my favorite thrift shop. They always, at the start of September, they always have the best trench coats and winter coats. Like all of their outerwear arrives right at the start of September, and it's good to go early. That way you have the most selection. And I remember I saw this, not suede, sheepskin coat. I tried it on, I loved it, and it was 60 euros. I was like, I don't know, I'm gonna think about it. I thought about it for 2 seconds, no, okay, like 10 minutes. I went back and it was gone. And I'm on TikTok later on in the afternoon and I saw that an influencer went in and bought it. And I was just like, wow, I just missed the deal of the century. So I don't want that to happen this year. I want to make sure I have the first pick of their outerwear. New corner of my apartment unlocked. I don't think I've ever filmed here. It's definitely the most comfortable area to film in because of the couch that we have, but because it's like facing the light, I feel like it's not great for filming, so we'll see. This is like our trial run. Jean made me a peppermint tea, which is sort of the perfect way to end a windy afternoon spent outside. And actually this tea he put in the mug that he got me before we even started dating. Jean and I, if you guys don't know, met on our basketball team. And before we started dating, it was like, I think this was in early November. I don't know when the date was exactly, but basically we're doing a Secret Santa and Jean had me. And the budget for Secret Santa was 10 euros. At this point goes out and buys me handcrafted mugs, like a set of mugs for like 50 euros. It was pretty funny opening them in front of everybody, but yeah, I thought we could do a little debrief of our day. I didn't really talk much about the experience of the Tootbus. I want to talk a little bit about the Marais and thrifting. First things first, the Tootbus. Did I like it? Do I think it's worth your money? I think so. I think if it's your first or second time in Paris and you're not familiar with the city, then I would definitely go for it. I am a passenger princess. I don't have my driver's license. I don't drive. I love being in a car. I love road trips. And so I like the idea of the Tootbus. Anytime there's a double-decker bus that I can go and I can have a high vantage point of a city, I love it. I did it in London. I've done it in Paris. I think that part of the Tootbus is awesome. The only critique I would have for this experience is that Number one, I feel like the route could be a little diversified. I feel like when you come to Paris, there are the top 10 monuments that are on everybody's list, the top 10 things to do in Paris. You have the Louvre, Notre Dame, the Arc de Triomphe, the Eiffel Tower, and the list goes on. And basically this bus takes you through the center of Paris to see all of these sites. And I feel like if you're already going to all these sites to visit the museums and the monuments, then it does get a little repetitive. And I'm not sure if I feel that way because I have lived in the city for over 5 years, but I feel like it was a little bit boring in terms of the route that they took. It's just streets that you're already so familiar with. I would have liked to see a little bit more of a diversification. I don't know if they're limited because it is a bus and they probably have a hard time going through the tinier streets. But that was sort of one thing that was lightly disappointing. The other is that we spent so much time stuck in traffic, especially on the left bank of the Seine. Once we got past the Louvre and we crossed the bridge to the other side, we were stuck in like bumper to bumper traffic for almost an entire hour. And the section of the Tootbus that's on the left bank of the Seine is so small. Like, you see Notre Dame, you drive up 2 streets on the left bank, you go past the Musée d'Orsay and you cross back over to the right bank. And not only was it heavy traffic, but I feel like they didn't do the left side of the Seine justice. Like, there's such beautiful architecture, the streets are so charming, the parks are beautiful, the ambiance is so French. And I feel like they kind of missed that on this tour. But if it is, like I said, your first or second time in the city, I think it could be a really fun way to hit the major monuments and the major sites if you're not already familiar with them. Second point, I sadly was completely unsuccessful thrifting. The only things I purchased today were from the soap store that I showed you. I bought a little exfoliator brush and 2 bars of soaps. I'll show you just a sec. This is the little brush I got. I really like to use this on my feet when they're dry and stuff. All summer long when I'm wearing sandals, my heels do need a good scrub by the end of it. And I don't know when they started making this soap, but I bought 2 of them because it's my favorite scent. And I had no idea that it was called this, but it says verbena soap infused with chlorophyll. I don't know how to describe it. It's almost lemony. It's a little acidic. That's what the package looks like. Now, you know, when it comes to soaps, Terra Lava is my girl. Marais makes the best soaps in the entire world. But I figured I would test these out for fun, and I could always use some hand soap. Because Jean and I don't use anything in plastic bottles when it comes to like soap, body wash, and shampoo and stuff, we run out of bar soap pretty fast. So voila, those are the only purchases I made today. I don't know if it's just that my shopping habits have changed, because if you guys watch my second channel, you would have seen my Vinted unboxings. Vinted is an app that's sort of like the equivalent of Depop if you're in Canada or the US. It's like an online marketplace where just the average Joe sells their clothing for really affordable prices. And what's nice about Vinted is that you can filter for size, material, color, brand, condition, and the prices are great. Like, generally the prices on Vinted are amazing because it's just regular people selling their clothes. And I feel like the experience of that has kind of spoiled me in a sense that I find thrifting for clothes at least to be a little exhausting, because you really have to sift through piles of clothes and go to a bunch of different stores to not only find brands and materials that you like, but pieces that are in good condition and prices that are fair. I would have showed you a couple of the stores that I went to. The first one is in the Village Saint-Paul in the 4th. I think it's right across from the Ile Saint-Louis. And I was going through her jackets, her blazers, the pieces of jewelry, the purses. Everything was like over 50 or 60 euros, which is a lot of money for a leather jacket. Like 2 years ago, when I was religiously thrifting in the shops in Paris, you would find a leather jacket in perfect condition, vintage, for 25 to 30 euros. I just think the price the price point is a little bit outrageous. And especially there was one coat that I found. It was a sheepskin coat. I think that's what it is. Actually, I don't even think it was sheepskin. I think it was pig skin is what it said on the tag, I'm pretty sure. And it was a very long coat with sort of a fur collar. Exactly what I'm looking for because I really want a warm, full body coat. And I asked her how much it was, and she was like, 200 euros. And it's this vintage used coat with stains and marks. I'd have to go and take it to a specialty cleaner, which from experience costs over 100 euros, if not over 150. So it's a lot of money for a vintage jacket. And all of my current jackets, like my winter jackets, come from Vinted. And I have purchased very similar jackets for like 30 to 40 euros. So all that to say, the prices are crazy. Then I went to my favorite store, the one I told you guys about during the vlog, called Vintage Désir. They have been my go-to thrift store for years. I don't know if it's because they haven't gotten their fall stock in yet. I think that's probably what it is. Because not only were the pieces not very pretty, like they weren't, I don't know, they were all shapeless, giant men's trench coats, all the same color. Everything was either missing buttons or stained or had holes in it. And I was like, this is so strange. And not only that, but the prices had doubled. When I was looking for trench coats, and I actually bought 3 from this same store 2 years ago, first of all, they were 10 euros. Now they're 20 euros. And all the ones I got were like very feminine colors. I got a baby blue one. I got a purple one. I got a basic khaki colored trench coat. But they were all very chic and stylish. There was a feminine selection. It wasn't all just giant oversized trench coats. In that same store as well, I found 2 suede mini skirts, which is exactly what I'm looking for. And I just bought 2 suede mini dresses on Vinted, both for less than 10 euros. And I was looking at these skirts. They were priced at 10 euros, which seems fair enough. But both of these skirts were completely stained. And that's what I'm saying is on Vinted, when you can filter for quality, you can filter that you only want to see options that are in good enough condition that don't have massive stains. So I think I probably need to broaden my scope. I always go back to the same thrift stores. I think it's time to sort of go through my list of thrift stores that I flagged, but I haven't actually gone into because there are a lot more in Paris now. Like they've become very popular. I have at least, I think it's 37 thrift shops in my pending list of stores that I need to visit and review. So I think I have to get on that because currently the stores that I shop at, I don't think offer the greatest selection. And what I'm finding is that I actually prefer to thrift for interior decor pieces and vintage accessories and dishware, stuff like that. My favorite store, if you guys saw my little haul that I did on my second channel, is called Antique Club. And actually I featured them in my last video. It is the best store for vintage, French vintage or European vintage pieces when it comes to decor and dishware. The quality is phenomenal. The prices are just so affordable. So I think that's what I'm more prioritizing at this point because Vinted is such a good platform for secondhand clothing. That was a very long-winded speech. I'm glad I'm doing this at the end so you can just click off the video if you don't want to hear me yap. Certainly because the last topic that I want to get into is, I think, a very long one. And I talked about this briefly on the last podcast on my second channel. I keep talking about my second channel. If you aren't aware, last year I decided to make a second channel for more personal content. It's called Get the Margarita. I will leave a link down below. But basically what I talked about in that podcast is that over the past couple years, I have really started to see changes in the Marais area. And it's become a place that I kind of avoid because it's not what it used to be, and it's very tourist-centric. And my perception of the Marais is limited. Like, what I'm going to be talking about is what I've seen. And what I've seen spans 5-6 years. So the Marais is a very historic region in Paris. It was very different 50 years ago, 70 years ago to what it is today. But what I'm referring to is the change that I've seen in the past 5 or 6 years. And when I talked about it on my YouTube channel, a lot of people sort of use the term gentrification to describe the changes that are ongoing right now in the Marais, but I don't think that it's gentrification. I think it's more so touristification and cheapification. And the reason why I say that, why I don't necessarily think it's gentrification, is because the Marais that I've known for the past 6 years has never been a neighborhood that has been disinvested in by the city of Paris. Like, it has always been this chic, fun neighborhood for as long as I can remember, which isn't very long, granted, but that's sort of what I've known the Marais to be. And not only have I known it to be chic and Parisian, but authentic. Like, I remember when I was filming my video on the second and the third arrondissement years ago, like baby Arielle YouTube, I remember saying in that video that I loved being in the Upper Marais because I really felt like it was residential, but still fun. Like, there were families that lived there were students that lived there, but there were still the restaurants, the bars, and the activities that are authentically Parisian. And now what I feel like has happened, and I took a bunch of clips so that I can overlay them to show you what I'm talking about, but these boutiques that were authentic to the city, whether they were flower shops or small creators or designers or coffee shops, they've slowly morphed into the places that appeal to tourists. So these could be things like American breakfast or Starbucks or Krispy Kreme or a crepe stand. And the reason why I say they are for tourists is because all of the signage is in English or the brand is American. And it's not just this touristification, it's also the cheapification, because you see things like those cardboard panels and like the giant menus with the pictures of the food and hanging cardboard posters and cafes and buildings plastered with plastic flowers. All of those things are like notoriously within the touristic areas. That was a really bad way of saying it, but in Paris at the moment, there are a couple neighborhoods that have this exact same vibe, that have transformed into this tourist neighborhood. And you have, of course, around the Eiffel Tower, which I showed in my last video, like all of those tourist restaurants that are ready to scam you. You have Montmartre, which is increasingly becoming an issue, and I'm going to make a video on this, because locals are themselves annoyed by not just the foot traffic of tourism, but like the local economy that's destroyed and replaced with all of these facades. Like, I think of Place du Tertre, for example, which is that area that has all of the artists and who do portraits and stuff. All of the restaurants and businesses around there are sort of this fake old Montmartre aesthetic, this fake Parisian aesthetic, and people love to go there for the pictures and stuff, but it's not necessarily representative of the culture, like Parisian culture or the culture of Montmartre. And now you also have this touristification of the Marais more and more. I mean, it's always attracted tourists, but more and more this area is starting to cater to tourists. And everything happens so fast. Like, Jean and I were biking through this area a couple days ago, and I swear in the span of a couple months, everything changes. Like, new businesses pop up, and the Marais that you knew 6 months ago isn't what it is today. And it's just so fascinating how fast a neighborhood can change. And it is also a little bit worrying to see the direction that the Marais is going in, if that makes sense. And I want to do a lot more reading on this topic as well, because at least for me, it's very interesting to see how locals have reacted in Sacré-Cœur and in Montmartre. And it's interesting. I am looking forward to see what sort of resolution is proposed and whether that resolution sort of expands to other heavily touristic areas like the Marais and the Eiffel Tower and all that. So to be continued. I'd like to make a video on that in the future. But yeah, those are my thoughts for now on the Marais. I'd be curious to know if you recently visited the Marais, if you have experience from visiting previously and coming back, and if you notice changes yourself. I know in my comments it's so interesting to read the perspectives of people who've been visiting Paris for decades. I love to hear your perception of how the city has changed, because I've only been in Paris for, like I said, 5 to 6 years, and I love hearing perspectives of people who got to see and appreciate the city before I did. Somehow I feel like this vlog has transformed into a mini podcast, so I'm going to stop the yapping there. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope it was fun to see the city with me in early September. I know from the comments that a lot of you guys are planning your trips to Paris within the next couple weeks, so I also figured it was maybe useful to see what the weather's like, see what people are wearing, that way you know what to pack. Please do let me know what you think down below in the comments. Like I said, I love reading them. I love hearing about your experiences and your opinions. It is the highlight of my day. I will probably throw in some other B-roll footage of the rest of my evening because I have to make dinner, do some exercises, do some editing, probably pick up Jean from basketball practice. But if I don't see you again on camera, then I'll just say I hope you have a great weekend and I'll see you in the next one.